What's happening, battlers? Trainer Manco here, and welcome to episode 2 of Safari Scrims. Now, in this episode, I'm going to be battling my buddy Ashsaigh, and I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that man, but he was nice enough to make a team and help me practice for the cup, even though he wasn't actually attending the tournament. So, thank you so much for the practice there, man. It helped out a lot. And his team was Skarmory, Lantern, Togekiss, Venomoth, Poliwrath, and Bastiodon. I'm not going to say much else other than the fact that I still have my set team with Tropius, Charizard, Lantern, PROBOPASS, Wigglytuff, and Toxicroak. And I figured that Lantern was a pretty safe pick against his team because he didn't have a Grass-type Pokemon. So let's actually go ahead and get right into the 2 sets of 3 matches. In the lead matchup, I have my PROBOPASS, and then he has his Lantern, and I also have Tropius and Lantern waiting in the back. I thought this was going to be a bad matchup at first, but he's running Charge Beam, which means that we're in a very good position. So I'm going to go ahead and get off a Rock Slide. So usually against PROBOPASS, if the Lantern has Water Gun, you're going to want to switch out. But since, like I said, is running Charge Beam, we're in a much better position. I'm going to go ahead and not shield that Thunderbolt. And with Lantern Stab does a good amount of damage, so it was kind of risky not to shield there. But I wanted to see if I could save my shields, just in case he's running a Flying type or Poliwrath. So I'm going to go ahead and get off a Thunderbolt. Doesn't shield it, and now Lantern is very low on health, and he brings in Poliwrath. But I have a good amount of energy built up, so I'm going to go ahead and try and get rid of one of the shields on Poliwrath. So I'm going to go ahead, hit the Thunderbolt, get off that Excellent, and he shields it. Now I'm going to go ahead and switch into my Tropius. And usually you don't want a Power Up Punch user to get that much energy gain because they can definitely bait you. So I'm going to go ahead and shield it. I thought it was Ice Punch, and I was right. So I'm going to go ahead, see if I can get off that Leaf Blade. But he has another charge move ready. So I figured it was going to be a Power Punch because usually, especially if your fighter is low on health, you want to try and get Power Punch off and then hit the Flying type with an Ice Punch. So I'm going to go ahead and get a Leaf Blade off, get rid of that last shield. Now he is shieldless and he has another charge move ready. So I figured it was going to be an Ice Punch. So I'm going to go ahead, shield that, and it was Ice Punch. Switches back out to Lantern, and he has a Thunderbolt ready, which doesn't do super effective damage to Tropius with it being a Grass type, but it does a good amount of damage. Gonna go ahead and farm it down for energy. And then I saw that he was waiting for the switch clock to fill back up, so I'm gonna go ahead and just throw a charge move at whatever he throws in. And he didn't bring in a Tropius counter, which means that he probably had Venomoth in the back. So I'm gonna go ahead, throw that Leaf Blade. And I was right, it was Venomoth. So we're in a very good position here. We have both Lantern and PROBOPASS waiting in the back. So I'm going to go ahead and throw that Aerial Ace. Take out a good chunk of health there. See if I can farm it down for energy. But I figured he would get to the Poison Fang before I did. So it's all good. Still have, like I said, PROBOPASS and Lantern waiting in the back. Just going to go ahead and farm it down with Spark. And that is GG's for the first match of the first best of 3. Coming into the second match, I have my Tropius in the lead, and I have PROBOPASS and Lantern waiting in the back. He leads with Poliwrath, so we're in a pretty good position here, but like I said, you gotta watch out for the baiting moves. So I'm gonna go ahead, see if I can build up to that Leaf Blade, but he builds up to his charge move first, and I was sure that it was a Power Punch, so I didn't shield, and I was right. So I'm gonna go ahead and build up some more energy, see if I can get off 2 Leaf Blades in a row. Gonna go ahead and get off that first Leaf Blade, take away that first shield. He shields it, but his Poliwrath is very low on health, so I figured he was going to go ahead and go with an Ice Punch here. But I was baited, so it was a Power Punch, and then switches out to his Bastiodon, and I have Lantern for that, but Smackdown Stone Edge from Bastiodon does a good amount of damage to Lantern. So I'm going to go ahead and build up some energy. I'm going to go ahead and shield that first Stone Edge because I wanted to see if I could hit whatever else came in with a Hydro Pump or a Thunderbolt. So I'm going to go ahead and build up the energy here. The thing about Water Gun Lantern is that it takes a while to build up a lot of energy, so I figured I could try and just build up the energy for a Hydro Pump right after, but he didn't fall for that. I should have used a Hydro Pump. Let's see here, he uses the Stone Edge, and Lantern is very low on health. I wanted to see if I could just farm it down for energy, but Smackdown just does so much damage to Lantern, and that is a lot of energy wasted. So he goes ahead and switches back out to his Poliwrath. So I'm going to go ahead, get off that Leaf Blade, get rid of that last shield, hopefully. He does shield it, and I switched to my PROBOPASS because I knew he was going to throw an Ice Punch, so I wanted to go ahead and take that Ice Punch. And we do, so I'm going to go ahead and see if I can build up to a Rock Slide to finish off that Poliwrath. Get that excellent on the rock slide, and the Poliwrath is down. So he's gonna go ahead and bring in his Bastiodon. So that means he has something that's weak to Probopass in the back. And it ends up being Skarmory, which is very good for Probopass. But I'm low on health, so I had to make sure that I got to a Rock Slide and a Thunderbolt to finish off the Skarmory before it got to a Flash Cannon. So I get off that excellent Rock Slide, and I have a good amount of energy built up so I can get to the Thunderbolt here. And that means that this is GG's for the second match. Coming into the third match, I have Lantern in the lead, and I have Charizard and Toxicroak waiting in the back. He leads with Poliwrath again, and this is not a good matchup for us because Poliwrath, especially with Mudshot, can definitely take out Lantern. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to not shield that first power-up punch. I'm going to see if I can build up to a Thunderbolt here. But then he timed it really well, and he switched out to his Bastiodon so he could tank that Thunderbolt. But luckily, like I said, I have Toxicroak waiting in the back, so I'm going to go ahead, build up some more energy on my Lantern so I can get some more energy on there. And then I'm going to go ahead and switch out to Toxicroak. So I go ahead and shield here. Maybe I shouldn't have, but I definitely wanted to see if I could do some damage to Poliwrath if he brought it back in. So I'm going to go ahead and farm it down. And then he waits for the switch timer to fill back up again. And then he brings in Skarmory. Not a good matchup for us, but luckily I have both Charizard and Lantern, so I'm going to go ahead and get off a Mud Bomb here. Not very effective, but I'm just going to do as much damage as I can before my Toxicroak faints. Going to go ahead and get off one more Mud Bomb. But then he shields, he burns one of his shields there. Interesting. So I'm going to go ahead, all I can do is just let my Toxicroak go down. I'm going to go ahead and bring in my Lantern. Yep, so I can tank that Sky Attack hopefully. But it was pretty low on health, and I figured he was going to try to hit me with a lot of Sky Attacks, so I'm going to go ahead, shield that, but it was a Flash Cannon. And then we both switch out into our other Pokemon. I bring in Charizard, he brings in Poliwrath. And it was a Power Punch, which wasn't very effective, but he has a lot of energy built up already, so I had to watch out and be careful. So I'm going to go ahead and get to that Dragon Claw. See if we can get that Excellent there. Yo, we got the Excellent. Doesn't take it out, does a good chunk of damage. And then I think he hits me with an Ice Punch here, which is neutral. But my Charizard's still good. So I'm going to go ahead and under tap that Dragon Claw. Get the Excellent again. But he shields it, he burns his last shield. So I was really hoping that I would be able to get a Chargement priority right here and take it out with Thunderbolt, so then I could just take out Skarmory. But he had a lot of energy built up, and he hit me one more Power Punch, and that means that this is going to be GG since I have no more shields, and Poliwrath did a lot of damage there. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the Thunderbolt, and I'm pretty sure Skarmory by this point can just farm me down. Give it to the Poliwrath. It's very, very close here, but it didn't work. Lantern is gone, and that is GG's for match 3. Coming into the second set of 3, we're going to go ahead and lead off with Lantern, and I have Toxicroak and Tropius waiting in the back. He leads off with his Togekiss, which isn't a bad matchup for Lantern, but Charm does do a lot of damage, but also because Togekiss is squishy, Water Gun does a lot of damage as well. So I'm going to go ahead and build up the energy here, see if he switches out or uses a charge move. I think he had to switch out right there, but he wasn't able to. So he goes ahead and switches or uses a charge move, and I think it's an Ancient Power, so I shield. It was an Ancient Power. We do lag a little bit there for a second, but he switches out into his Venomoth. So I'm going to go ahead and see if I can get rid of his shield with Thunderbolt. And we are able to, so I'm going to go ahead and switch into my Tropius. So I'm going to go ahead and do some good damage there with Air Slash. But he does have a Poison Fang ready, so I want Tropius to last a little bit longer, so I'm going to go ahead and shield that first Poison Fang, build up some more energy on there, use the first Leaf Blade so I can do some not very effective damage so I can build up some more energy from farming the rest of Venomoth. There we go, I have another Leaf Blade ready. So he brings in Bastiodon, so I'm going to go ahead and just do as much damage as I can with the Leaf Blades because Leaf Blade does almost nothing to Bastiodon. There we go, we're going to build up to another Leaf Blade, so he's just going to try and farm me down for energy right here. There we go, and I switch out into Lantern, hoping that I can get rid of that shield. There we go. and we are able to. So he just farms me down for energy right here. And I had a plan. I was hoping that he would use the charge move on my Tropius if I brought it back in. So I'm going to go ahead, bring back in my Tropius. But it doesn't work. He knows that I'm going to bring back in my Tropius, so he just keeps farming it down for energy. Get off that last Leaf Blade. And now Bastiodon has very, very low health. So at least 1 or 2 counters from Toxicroak can take it out. But I figured he has at least 2 flamethrowers ready. So I was prepared to take those, but it was a Stone Edge, and he switches back out into his Togekiss, which goes down after 1 counter. And then he brings back in Bastiodon, which does the exact same. So that is GG's for match 1. Coming into match 2, I have my Lantern in the lead again, then I have Toxicroak and Charizard waiting in the back. So I'm going to go ahead. He does have Poliwrath in the lead again, which isn't a good matchup, so I expect the same thing to happen as last time, where he brought Poliwrath in and switched out into Bastiodon once I had the energy for a Thunderbolt. So I'm going to go ahead and take that first Power-Up Punch again. And then I was right, he switches out right here into Bastiodon, and I want to save the energy there, so I just go ahead and keep the energy, and then I bring in Toxicroak, farm down Bastiodon, and then I think, nope, I don't shield here. It's another Stone Edge. So I'm going to go ahead and farm it down for more energy here. Good, good, good. He waits for the switch timer to fill back up a little bit more. And then he brings in Venomoth. So this is a very good position we're in right now because I have Charizard waiting in the back. He doesn't shield it, but I'm not able to get to the next Mud Bomb. So I'm going to go ahead and wait for the timer to go down here. And then I bring in my Charizard. So then he switches out. Yep, he switches out into Poliwrath right here. I think, yep, I do shield here. It is an Ice Punch. So I'm going to go ahead, build up the energy, and then hopefully get rid of that last shield. Nope, he uses his first shield. Sorry about that. And then I'm going to go ahead, hit that Thunderbolt. Get rid of that last shield. So hopefully I'm going to get to another one here before he gets off 2 Power-Up Punches. I do shield it, because Charizard can just pretty much take out Venomoth. But he does have another Power-Up Punch ready. So it's going to be very, very close here. Lantern is very, very low on health, but I'm able to get out that Thunderbolt before he takes me out. So Poliwrath is going to go down. A little bit of a visual glitch right there, but it's all good. Venomoth comes back in, and then Charizard can go ahead and just take the rest of the match. So that means this will be GG's for match 2. Yep. GG's for match 2. And then we'll go ahead and go into match 3. I have Lantern, Probopass, and Tropius again. He leads with Venomoth, and Venomoth with Confusion Silverwind can do a decent amount of damage to Lantern, so I gotta watch out for that. But I'm gonna go ahead, do some chip damage with Water Gun. And then it's Silverwind, so I'm gonna go ahead and shield that. I predicted correctly, it is Silverwind. I learned from experience that Silverwind does a lot of damage to Lantern if you're not ready for it. So I'm gonna go ahead, save that energy, switch out to my Tropius. And then I only have 1 shield here, so I had to play this very, very carefully. I decided not to shield, and it was a Power-Up Punch, so I did predict correctly. He has 2 shields, so I wanted to at least burn one of the, or at least maybe 2 of those shields with 2 Leaf Blades. It's another Power-Up Punch, so I predicted correctly. And I have a lot of energy built up now, but he beat me to the charge move, so I'm going to shield that. But it was a 3rd Power-Up Punch, so I was definitely baited there. Very, very well played. So I'm going to go ahead, hit that excellent Leaf Blade. But like I said, I have a lot of energy built up. We do lag a little bit right there. But Poliwrath is very low on health, so I'm going to go ahead, hit that 2nd Leaf Blade, get rid of that last shield, and hopefully take out Poliwrath with that Thunderbolt. But he switches out into his Bastiodon. That was very, very, very well played. So I go ahead, hit it with Thunderbolt, and I'm going to just take it out with a Hydro Pump because I have the energy. So we're going to go ahead, hit that Hydro Pump, hit the Excellent on there. We lag a little bit here, but that's okay. Still going to register. Yep, there we go. So Bastiodon goes down, but that was a lot of energy gone. So we could easily just come back here and farm my Lantern back down with his Poliwrath. Even though it's very, very low on health. So he already has a lot of energy built up just from doing that. So I have to be careful bringing back in my Tropius. Hopefully he doesn't have an Ice Punch ready. Very close, but he brings in Venomoth. So I'm going to go ahead just farm down the Venomoth with Sparks, because nothing that Venomoth throws will be super effective against Probopass. Throws Silver Wind, not very effective. Just going to farm it down. There we go. And then I'm going to hit with the Rock Slide so I can take it out a bit faster. And I'm hoping that I have CMP right here. And I do, so that will be GG's for match 3. That was very, very close and very well played. Nice job, man. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and make sure you stay tuned for the next one, which will actually be of the official Safari Cup tournament. So stay tuned for that, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. See you later, guys.